Hey guys, Eric Meyer, how are you? Got another beginner data training module. This one's pretty neat. If you're a intermediate or even an advanced driver and you're looking for, and you're pretty good and you think you're pretty good and you're going, where can I save time? This is a great video. I spent a couple minutes looking at Chris Finnigan's data. He drives a 1999 1.8 liter Miata. He's a very good driver. I looked at his data. It took me a few minutes to find something, but it was really neat what I found. It will save him time. It will save you time as well. So let's get into it. As always, we're using an Apex Pro right here. And if you want to deal on one and get a free suction cup mount that looks like that right there, which is a $40 value, use the coupon code below. There you go. There's the gratuitous plug for a tool that I really like. I think I got 6 of these. And if you ever need to borrow one so that you can learn data, that's what I got them for. Might even have 7. Here's a brand new one in the box. Never even opened it up. Let's get into this app store right here. First thing we want to do is we want to go, hey, is there any new updates? There aren't. Get in the habit of doing this, please. You always want to look for updates. The next thing we want to do, open this up, my big ugly mug, is tap on, oh, there's Daytona. We'll zip out of Daytona. We're going to take a look at Chris's right here, right? We're going to swipe left. Oops. We're going to swipe left and we're going to go into notes if he's got anything in there. Doesn't have anything in here. I recommend putting tires in here and weather. And you'll remember from this weekend, or excuse me, from the last Autobahn, we had rain, damp, and sun. So you need to understand when you threw down a particular lap, what weather was that? Was that drizzly and I couldn't get a lot of traction, or was it super cherry, perfect conditions? So fill in that weather, guys. That's important. Okay. We're loading Chris's data from Autobahn South. And we're gonna mimic exactly what we do. I'm gonna pretend that I'm at the track and I'm standing right next to you and I'm saying, hey, Chris, here's what you want to do to look at your data. And this is for all of you. I'm teaching you how to use data using this right here. It is super slick. This is why I love the Apex Pro. You come off the track, 30 seconds later, you can be looking at data on your phone. You can do exactly what we're doing and you can find time. Guys, there comes a point where you're on your own and you're good enough, or you're that good rather, where you can't judge time by seat of the pants. You just can't do it. You know, pros look at data acquisition for a reason. Fast racers look at data acquisition for a reason. It's because you're looking for tiny little opportunities, and that's what we're doing here. Okay. So here we go. We're going to turn the phone sideways, just like you would at the track. Remember, I'm going to teach a man to fish, and I'm going to look at the speed trace, just like I always do, just like I'm telling him consistently, trying to tell you the same thing. We got distance, we got speed, and as you know from other videos, I like the color blue because it's my favorite color, actually, because it's got high contrast. And I'm looking through here, and first thing I want to do is go, I don't remember picking the best lap. And why do I say that? Because I'm looking right here. And I'm looking right here. And this is where you would be going to the brake application. And I'm thinking this is a warm-up lap. Because normally, remember, they would be sawtooth shape. I bet you. I don't know. I bet you we didn't pick that. Let's go back. And sure enough, look at that. It's the very first lap right on the top. Fooey on me. So let's pick the 142.4. Nice job, Chris. And the 81% right here is really fantastic for a Miata at this track. So hats off to you, my brother. Okay, I'm going to turn this sideways. We got the fast lap. Taking a look-see right here. Okay. Take my little red marker. We got fast lap, we got distance, we got speed, we got blue. We're going to take this track map. I'm going to move it over a little bit. What's the first thing that you do? Well, if you said look at for the sawtooth right here, you win the prize. And these all look really pretty. Almost like Dave Stewart's had really, really good sawtooths. So what this means is, as Chris is bringing his Miata up to top speed, he's got some assertiveness when he goes to brake because of this shape. If it was this, he's hesitant. If it was this, might even be raining, or this driver's afraid to get on the brakes. So because we have these sawtooths, process of elimination, there's nothing there. So let's look somewhere else. Next thing we do is look at the U, the letter U, shape U versus V. Both of these are alphabet characters, right? U and V. And we look here. And what you see right here is a U, and this is really good for anything above 70. It's pretty clear that if the track is flat and it's a somewhat kind of like a 90-degree corner, or even less than 90 degrees, and it's again above 70, this shape with the apex being here, because that's how it works, min speed is usually the apex, should look like the shape of a U. This one kind of looks like a U as well. Anything below 60 or below 55, it's very clear this should have a V shape. Even the really slow corners. And guess what? They do. And this one's real pretty, by the way. So what we can, there might be something right here. You see that? I don't know if you can see that on my screen. Let's open that up a little bit. Come on over. Clear this out. Again, we're looking at the speed trace. Let's see what that thing is. Here's a shift. Probably a shift right here, looks like. Let's find out what this thing is. Let's just go right here just because we're curious, right? And that's what data's about. When you see something and, you know, it should kind of look like this, right? Which is like this. You should go in your best Scooby-Doo voice. Roy? That was not my best Scooby-Doo voice. Let's take a look and see what this is. And the way we do that is we're going to take the slider along the bottom, this little white dot. We're going to slide all the way over. By the way, let's make sure this is on the screen for everybody, because Zoom's a little bit different. I'm going to look right here. Put the slider right there. Come on, baby. Sometimes when I use Zoom, it freezes up the phone just a little bit. We're going to go right there and go, what the heck is that? And we can see on the track map that it's right here. So for whatever reason, that's just a little bit past that, isn't it? Just a little bit past that. It's the middle. Actually, that's about where it starts. So what I like to do in this particular case is I'm going to toggle left, the little blue diamond over here. I'm going to toggle over and say, where the heck is that in the process? All right. Just going to kind of get my bearings, right? Well, judging by his line, right? And judging by the speed trace, if you just remember, right, it's just before he's braking for whatever that is. Now, we're going to need more information because it doesn't make sense, right? You're kind of like, hey, what the heck could be going on right there? And by the way, I don't know either. I haven't looked at this. So we're going to go to long G. And what apparently it looks like is this is our 0 line, all right? Meaning above it is acceleration and below it is braking. And it looks like there's something going on right here, right? This is interesting. This is off the accelerator and then maybe back to maintenance throttle just a little bit and then off the accelerator again. This is braking underneath here, guys. This is braking right here. This part right here, take notes. This part is all acceleration but down here at a slower rate. So this area right here is not brakes. It's decelerating less. Remember, this is zero acceleration. It's not positive. It's not negative braking. So for some reason, whatever it is, doesn't make sense to me. You know what? Just for fun, let's see if that's in. See if it's in another lap. Let's pick his next lap right there. 142. We'll zip over and go. Whoopsie. 142. We'll take a look at that. And is it there as well? I'm going to go all the way down like we did before. And we're going to go over here. Let's go to the track map. And we're going to put the cursor on the same spot, which is down in that, right in about there. And we're going to go over there. And we're going to look for our crosshairs, which are down a little bit farther. And say, it's kind of there. That's probably a downshift. He might be doing that. Maybe clicking it in gear before he goes to brakes. That's the only thing I can think of. Chris, what are you doing there? Let us know. We'd be interested to know. I'll put the comments in the bottom of YouTube. What are you doing right there? So I'd be interested to know. Okay, so we just looked through here. We didn't see anything obvious, right? Remember, at the top of his sawtooths or his snow caps looked great. The bottom of his U versus V looked really pretty. There's nothing that's obvious in looking at the speed trace. So what we do in this particular case is, when we were looking at that, remember when we saw it right there? Now we're going to go back to the fastest lap. Make sure we got that. That's at 142.3. We'll come back here. So we didn't find anything in the speed trace. All right, so let's go to the long G. And let's see what we got here. We'll move this little guy out of the way. Move this guy out of the way. And what do we see here? I see three things. I see three things. And they're right here, and I'll put them in red. This is an undesirable shape for when you really get on the brakes. And this is one, and this is one. Let's talk about what this is. We all see that it comes down and then it kind of goes up and it comes down again. Almost kind of looks like a weird W, right, of sorts. This would be braking less, going back to brakes, coming off the brakes. Up here is when you're fully off the brakes. By the way, all of this maximum braking occurs typically about 1/3 of the way through the brake zone. Let's take a look at that. This is some helpful information. Your greatest braking force, especially if you have aero, is the initial G's just after you put on the brakes. And why do I say that? Well, let's put the cursor right here with the maximum brake. You can see right here, it's right here on the track. We're going to go over to track map. We're going to zoom it in, right? It's right there. That's the maximum G's, right? We're going to go back here one. We're going to go back to where he's just crossing the 0 line, which is right there, and it's negative just a little, right? Trying to get there right where that line is. Come on, Seabiscuit. This is very difficult to do with your big, huge thumbs. I was going to do a tiny Trump hand joke, but better not. So it's a little bit past that, okay? And when I say that, it's a little bit past that. So we're right here. Right here, he's on the brakes for sure. Right there on that data point. So I'm pretty close. So we'll go back here and say, right here's where he goes to brakes. There's the maximum braking. So about 1/3 through the braking zone is where maximum braking occurs, typically, especially for a threshold, threshold corner. So if you have aero, you really want to use it because this is where the speed is. Aero braking, if you have aero and you don't use it in braking and threshold, you're not freaking using your freaking aero. You might as well take it off because you think it looks cool. This is where it works right here on a threshold. Back at the back straight at Mid-Ohio, when you go to brakes, that first third of the brake zone, you got to abuse it. And if you don't, and you're pussyfooting it, take your freaking aero off because you're not using it. It doesn't, especially if you're in a momentum car. Aero works at high speeds, and the lower speed you go, the less it works. Guess what? This is the highest speed braking zone on the whole track. This is where it uses it as it come into play. Okay, off my soapbox. Okay, so what we did is we said there's 3 goofy looking things right here, right? And we didn't find anything with the speed trace, and we're going, what the heck is that? And I'm telling you right now, you advanced data folks know this, and maybe even you intermediate data folks know this. Well, beginners, prepare to learn something so you can look at this in your data. So remember again, we looked at this, the speed trace. We didn't see anything. He's a good driver, right? Chris is real good. Had an 81% apex score on this track. That's very good. Now we're going to long G, and we said, Scooby-Doo voice, right? So let's look into this more closely. What the heck is that? So put on your education hat and go, let's think about what this is. Let's take that one right there and let's slide it down. This one right there. And I just want you to think about this. So what is longitudinal G? Well, there's the 0. And if you remember right, below this is braking, and above this, try to cover up that red, is acceleration. These are positive. See that right there? And they're always above the 0. Always, always, always above the 0. And below this is negative, and they're always below the 0. Right? Pretty simple. So what we know here is this is a braking event. This whole thing right here, as is this right here, as is underneath that line, right? As is this, et cetera, right? I guess underneath right there and below. All that's braking. Conversely, everything above this line is acceleration, right? And why does this big, long acceleration exist? Well, that's because this is the brake zone at the end of the back straight. And this is a long 2,200 meters to 2,900 meters, 700 meters, 2,100 feet. What is that? 2,100 feet, 4/10 of a mile, maybe something like that. Don't hold me to it if you're a cartographer, map maker, right? So we're looking at this and we're going, what's going on? Guys, that is going to brakes, lifting the foot off the brake, going back to brakes. Going to brakes, lifting foot off the brakes, going back to brakes, coming off the brakes. It's kind of a W. It's a goofy W. And it's the telltale sign of lifting your foot. Finish my sentence. The telltale sign of lifting your foot off the brake when you're in the brake zone and you're heel toeing. Yes. Does this make sense? Think about what you do for a second with your foot. Think about what you do for a second with your foot. You're on the throttle, you're coming into the brake zone, you pop over on the brakes. At some point, if you're heel toeing, and if you're not, you need to practice it on the street, just like your HB instructor says. You're pushing down on the brake pedal, you lift your heel over or you roll your foot over to blip the throttle, and what's happening is you're coming off the brake a little bit. This is normal. You are normal. If you had a brake pressure sensor, you could see this very easily, but you probably don't. But you do have an Apex Pro or a Harry's lap timer, and you can see this in your long G, and that's what's happening. We're using a lot of brake for long G, and then when we go to blip, Chris is coming off the pedal just a little bit. So this is what we got to work on so he can be more efficient throughout the entire brake zone. So I'm going to exaggerate a little bit. Brake, off brake, brake again, come off brake, turn in. We don't need to do that one part where we come off brake in the middle. By the way, Chris, you're normal. Your data looks super great. It looks clean. The area I would recommend focusing on is right here, right? Is your heel toe. And you might have, reasons for that, oh man, I forgot my driving shoes, Eric. That's what my data looks like. I was wearing my freaking boots, right? I don't know what it is, right? Maybe, you know what, my pedal broke. You know what? It was, I put a new Sparko, one of those plates on those little cosmetic, Fast and Furious plates on my brake pedal, and I don't like it. I'm going to get rid of it. But what we do know is that data doesn't lie, and Chris is coming off the brake right here. So guys, it's good to find bad things in your data, because that way you can bring room for improvement. If you're that kind of person that views small things that are sort of, let's not call them bad. If you're trying to get better and you're critical of yourself, data is for you. If you like just to turn laps and somebody says, hey, you could go faster, and you're like, data is probably not for you. You have to have the mindset of, I want to get better. And I'm going to suggest to you, when you have that mindset and you're willing to put in a little bit of work and learn this, the hardest part is initially learning it. Using it is simple. You just have to learn it. It takes a little bit. And this is what we're doing right now. You've just learned how to identify heel toe coming off the brake opportunity in this 20-minute video, right? And this is what you look for every time. Just come off and you go, do I have it? And the real deal is almost everybody has it if you got a manual transmission. And almost everybody has this opportunity. I had it. Almost everybody I know has it, until you see it and go, holy shit, I'm doing that. Man, I got to get better at that. And you start thinking about what you're doing when you're going into the brake zone, when you're doing laps, lap after lap after lap after lap. And then you get off and you look and you go, how am I doing? And ultimately, it's going to end up looking like this. You ready? By the way, I've never done this trick that I'm about to do. Super trick effort here. Ready? Never done this before. It's going to look like this. All right. It's going to look like this. Remember, this is inefficient use of that valuable time between here on the track and here. It's inefficient use. You're not optimizing that portion of the track from there to there, right? Because you're not taking, you're coming off the brake. We're going to make this really easy. We're going to clear this up. Actually, we're going to, this video is almost over, but I really want to drive this point home. Here we are on the end of the back straight here. I believe this is that area. Sometimes the zoom freezes up on the software. This is the end of the back straight area. Come on, what's going on, baby? Come on, Seabiscuit. There we go. Let's go to the end of the, there he is right there. The end of the back straight area. And from right here, all right, from right there at 2,900 feet, actually, if we look up here in the corner, it's 2895. Remember, 2895 to, just down a little further, let's call it right about here, 2952. Right, what is that, 57 feet? There's a half a brake marker where Chris is coming off the pedal. And if you're visual, it's right there. That's where he's coming off the brake pedal, which makes sense, right? That's where your heel toe blipping, right there. Down into the brake zone, right? Pretty interesting. So next time you're coming off the track, look into the long G, look at the bottom of the threshold braking zone, or the places where you downshift, the places where you're heel towing, and see if you have that distorted looking W. If you do, start working on it. Set in pit lane. This is your homework. Set in pit lane, not in pit lane, set on grid with your car off. You're waiting for the 5 minute, 3 minute, 1 minute signal. Put your foot on the brake, either pull your heel and blip that way or roll your foot, but try to keep constant pressure, even more pressure on your brake foot. Almost everybody lifts off when they do that. This is my brake pedal, this is my foot. As we go to blip, here's what's happening. It's coming back. This is very normal. Now you know where to look at it, how to look at it to save some time in the brake zone with the data long G channel. That's it, sports fans. We're just at about 30 minutes. I want to thank you for watching. I want you to subscribe to this channel if you want to learn more, and it's specifically the playlist that will get you these videos. And if you want one of these drop shipped to you with the free suction cup mount, use the discount coupon code below, and Andrew Rains and his team will ship that off today, and you'll have it by your next track weekend. I'm Eric Meyer. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the track. Remember to use your data and review it.